So for those of you following real estate or even care about real estate, the market is starting to shift and is starting to change pretty drastically all in the last 3 weeks. So this is going to be a market update, but I'm going to talk about what's going on at the national level, what we're seeing, why it's happening, and then what's going to happen next. And this is all going to be for the south end of Washington, specifically Thurston County. So last month you heard me talk about the changes in the interest rates and what was going on. And we weren't quite seeing much of a change in terms of what was going on in the real estate space, but right now it's actually here and we're seeing it. And the biggest way it's showing up is just that these houses are coming on market and not all of them are selling with 10 offers, right? And not all of them are selling for way over the asking price. There's actually homes right now that are being listed and they're staying on the market for a little while. So naturally, the first question that everybody has is this gonna make prices go down? And just like all my videos, I want you to see the context. So I want you to check out this slide. Home price appreciation since World War II. All right, what you're gonna see is there's only really one period of history where we had significant price changes in a downward fashion. So in 2006, you can kind of see the peak on that chart. And then you can see this period of time where the houses went down, and everybody kind of understands that as the last housing crash. And we did see significant loss in home value during that time. But you gotta keep in mind, there was a completely different style of lending back then. The lending standards were very loose. It was very easy, and there were also a ton of people that took money out against their house and they bought jet skis and cars and all kinds of things that had nothing to do with their property. This time around, ever since then, that has not been the case. So lending standards tightened and a lot of people have equity in their homes right now. So we're not expecting a repeat of this event. In fact, check out this slide. So the amount of people that were in forbearance, this is another thing that people are questioning. Is there going to be this flood of houses that hit the market because people were not making their payment? The reality is the forbearances are edging downward. So 92% of the people who actually entered into forbearance have already come out of forbearance. So what we need to do is take a closer look. Okay, so people are exiting in forbearance. What does that mean, right? 92% of them. The reality is when you look at the numbers, the percentages of people exiting the forbearance program, like how come, what's happening exactly? And as you'll see, between those that have exited and paid in full, and between those where they worked out a repayment plan for the bank, right? It's about 82% have figured something out already, like it's a done deal. So there's only 18% left over where there's some kind of issue that still needs to be figured out, which represents a really small piece of the pie overall. So we're not expecting to see a huge influx of foreclosure activity, which could result in dragging prices down. In fact, the pandemic has been going on for a while and there's been forbearances and everything like that. But if you look at this slide, you can tell foreclosure activity is it's at an all-time low. And it's not like everything has just happened. It's been going on for a while. So you can see in Q1 of 2022, that foreclosure activity is still extremely low. So I'm going to give you the specific numbers right now. For Thurston County, it kind of applies to Pierce County and Lewis County and Kitsap County. It's almost all the same. And we're gonna go over those now, and then I'm gonna tell you what's going to happen next with prices and what's anticipated by other industry experts. So one of the biggest changes we're seeing, other than less multiple offer situations, that sort of thing, we're seeing the new listings rise and the active listings rise. So more people are rushing to list their house in the market. Part of that is because it's the time of year in Washington where that typically happens anyway. So you can see that playing out here. So last month, 526, this month, 586, up 1% from last year. Next month, you're gonna see these numbers increase big time. And on the active inventory, you can see that jump from 187 to 268, up from 211 last year, close to 30%. Again, next month, we'll see these numbers rise even more. So because of that increase in activity, you can see the pendings rise. The only thing a little bit weird was in the past month, there were less people that closed. But again, there is a scenario here where because of that interest rate change, there's an initial shock attached to this, where we saw just a little period of time where there were a little less closings because everything that happened with closings happens 30 to 60 days prior to that. So far the supply numbers are holding steady. Expect that to increase. Again, we're feeling this happen right now in real time. The numbers will show up next month. The days on the market will probably see rise a little bit. Right now that's holding steady at about 5 if the house is listed properly, and we're gonna see that change too. So let's talk about the average percent of list price. What that means is it is 4% right now. It'll read as 104 because it takes 100 to get to the full price, but it's actually 4% above that. So house is listed at 500,000, it's 4% above. That home on average is still selling for 520. Now, what you're gonna see going forward is that number is going to likely drop. I don't know that when it will show up exactly, but I anticipate it showing up very quickly because again, we're seeing homes be listed, people having to drop prices, which kind of resets that number. But the grand theme of things over the last few weeks is that homes aren't all selling for way above the asking. So that should temper that number down. All right, the only thing sellers care about is the average price of the home sale, right? And in Thurston County specifically, it's $563,883, $883 for the last month, up 17% from last year. So this is where we're gonna see this home price appreciation acceleration start to decelerate, not go down, but just slow down. And I anticipate that to start happening next month. All right, so what does it all mean, right? What can I expect for home prices? So check out the home price forecast. You don't necessarily have to take my word for it. I know I'm just a guy on social media providing some level of explanation here with the market, but 7 industry experts, average of all of those on the chart, forecast is 9%, so that we should still see roughly 9% across the nation of the home values going up, which seems weird because I'm telling you that home prices could come down a little bit. I'm talking about price reductions. I'm talking about sellers no longer pricing their home ahead of the market, but pricing it with where the market is today, which are 2 different things. So if you're somebody sitting there thinking if you should sell your home, or more importantly, you're a buyer thinking, should I buy one or wait? You'll want to see what the expectation is for prices going forward. So the estimated home price performance. What you can see going forward is increases of roughly 3 to 4% for 2023, 24, 25, and 26. And so if you were thinking you were going to buy a home and you're waiting because you think the prices may come down, yes, you may be able to get a better deal. Yes, you're not going to have as much competition. Those are all facts. But if you look at the overall investment long term, what you can see is, let's just start adding the numbers up, right? 4%, 3, 3, 3. So when you add all those up, 4, 7, 10, 13, you're stacking it on top of what's supposed to happen this year, we're still looking at gains. We're still looking at you buying a $500,000 home and it going up and up and up in value. And it's no doubt that right now people are feeling the squeeze. You know, when I look at the numbers for people that were looking to buy a home in December at around 3% interest rates, and people looking to buy a home now at closer to around 5 to 6% interest rates, which are expected to hold this year, by the way, maybe go up a little bit even. In fact, check out what this industry expert has to say. And it reads, based on the current estimate for the peak Fed funds rate, 3.25 to 4, the 30-year fixed mortgage will likely peak at between 5 and 5.7. There is some variability in the relationship, so we might see rates as high as the low 6% range. And we're in the 5s now. So what they're saying is that we could see that rate go up a little bit more, like I was saying. It's all going to be tied to what happens with inflation. So, but that's the current estimate. So anybody that's been thinking of purchasing, that was purchasing in that qualified for 400,000 or 500,000, close to the average sales price, they are feeling that squeeze. When you do the math on it, it is a full car payment extra if they were shopping in December to them shopping right now. And what's happened is some of them have dropped out of the market. They've decided to rent or things of that nature. The unfortunate thing is the path doesn't necessarily get way easier overall. The investment is still really good overall. There's an opportunity here. There's an opportunity here to not compete with as many people, get into the house a little bit easier. So I still think that strongly now is the time to purchase the house, and sellers are still in a position where they can sell their home. There's still plenty of people out there looking to buy it. So don't get freaked out about that. The home will still sell. It's just that you may not have as many offers. So it's still a great time to sell. Listen, I know that's a ton of information, but as always, I am here for you. If there's anything I can do to interpret your situation or anybody you know, please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to help.